You might have thought strikes were a thing of the past, given that train drivers were given, rail workers in general, given a nice above-inflation pay rise by the current government. But apparently they're not, because Elizabeth Line drivers, they're going to strike after rejecting a 4.5% pay rise. Let's speak to Simon Calder, travel guru at The Independent. Hi, Simon. There he is. We can see him, but we can't hear him for some reason. But look, he's always on location. I love Simon. He's such an intrepid he's such an intrepid correspondent. There's Simon. But we're going to try and catch up with Simon because he was there giving us all the information. But for whatever reason, it wasn't travelling to our ears. The audio had gone on strike. But that's OK, because waiting on the line to talk to us about other matters, or perhaps the Elizabeth line, who knows, is David, who, oh, do you know what? Simon's back. We're all over the place this morning, but fear not, we're going to drag it all back into a sensible, orderly manner. Hello, Simon. How are you?
Look, I'm really sorry about the technical problem, entirely my end, and my apologies to you and your lovely listeners and viewers. But I'm here at Britain's busiest railway station. This is London Liverpool Street, and it's just where the Elizabeth line is. Remember, this is a £20 billion piece of infrastructure, so thank you very much to the rest of the country for paying for it. However, the drivers who drive the trains on this east-west line through the heart of the capital aren't happy. They want, well, they've been offered a 5% pay rise, and they want more. Bear in mind, by the way, that fares are going to go up in a couple of weekends' time on the Elizabeth line and all the other railway lines in the UK, or at least in England, by 4.6%. So the drivers want more than that. But here's the thing, Alex. They are not the poorest paid people in London. They are on a basic pay of £72,000. Now, they've been offered well over £75,000, but that isn't enough. And so they will be striking for 4 days at the end of February and then into March, which will, they hope, bring large parts of the capital to a halt and cause mayhem for commuters and visitors to London.
Now, for people listening outside London, they might be like, well, Elizabeth line, who cares? But is there a risk of this precipitating into further industrial action? Because if they get an above-inflation pay rise and other train drivers think, well, we're not happy with what we got now, we want more, could this then sort of turn into a bit of a snowball effect and we find ourselves, you know, with gridlock and traffic networks grinding to a halt in other parts of the UK?
That's exactly right, Alex, yes. And we've already heard from Mick Whelan, the very effective General Secretary of Aslef, the Train Drivers Union, that he's basically put the Labour government on notice that when they bring all these train drivers back into one organisation, Great British Railways, and we're going to hear more about that next week, he wants everybody brought up to the highest level. And that will mean very substantial increases for people. It will mean very substantial increases in costs. And while people are no longer paying for the construction of the Elizabeth line, they are, taxpayers, people listening to this, they are paying £400 per second to keep the railways running. The train drivers think we deserve more than that, so it looks as though the amount of subsidy will increase until, and look, I absolutely respect the right of anybody to go on strike and pursue whatever they can, but I think we might be reaching a limit of public tolerance for this kind of malarkey.
Oh, yeah, I mean, definitely. Just a quick question before I let you go, Simon, because it just popped in my head now. When we get Great British Railway, I mean, one thing that I notice is, so for instance, if I want to go see my brother who lives in Sussex and I get a last-minute train down to Eastbourne, it costs me in the region of about 35 quid. If I want to get and it takes an hour 45 minutes. If I want to get a last-minute train to go to Gloucester to see my parents, it costs twice as much, but it's exactly the same journey length. Are we going to find fares homogenising?
No, we won't. I've no idea what will happen to fares. I asked the Department for Transport this very question yesterday. What are you doing about fares reform? And look, if you're going to Gloucestershire, that's a kind of slightly intercity journey as opposed to going to Sussex. So you would be expecting to pay A bit more, it's a longer distance. But the whole thing is that the rail fares system is an absolute shambles. For instance, anybody travelling between London and Bristol would be mad to buy a ticket from London to Bristol. Why would you want to do that? You buy a ticket to Didcot Parkway and then another one from there to Bristol, and you're going to save 40% on the deal. It's totally bonkers. Government after government has said they're going to fix things. We will see if Great British Railways manages to sort out the fares. If they do, then you might actually find that the railways begin to turn the corner. But at the moment, it's all looking a bit grim. One good piece of news, the planned strikes on Avanti West Coast, due to take place every Sunday until June, well, they've suspended the next 3. So this coming Sunday and the next 2 Sundays, you will be able to travel normally on the lovely line from London Euston to the West Midlands, North West England and southern Scotland.
Oh, that is good news indeed. Simon Calder, thank you ever so much. Travel guru there, a correspondent at The Independent. I wonder if on a Sunday a strike has been cancelled, if they have like a replacement strike service. Who knows?